Caitlin Clark has hilarious response to bizarre Razzmatazz question at Indiana Fever press conference. WNBA star Caitlin Clark was lost for words after being asked a bizarre question following the Indiana Fever's win against the Dallas Wings. Clark made history in last week's 100-93 win in Arlington, becoming the first WNBA player to amass 25 points and 10 assists in consecutive regular season games. It came a few days after she shone against rival Angel Reese, racking up a career-high 31 points and 12 assists in victory over the Chicago Sky. During a press conference after the Dallas game, Clark was asked, in unique style, how the game compared to her expectations. After giving the Razzmatazz to those Windy City skyscrapers Friday night, what was the biggest wingding game you expected to find today in the shindig against these dynamos from Big D? A reporter asked. Clark briefly sat open-mouthed before a member of the Fever staff broke the silence. Next question, they said before Clark had to answer. The Indiana Fever fell to a first defeat in 6 games on Friday night despite the rookie sensation smashing yet another record in the WNBA. Clark put up 25 points as the Fever suffered a 99-88 loss against the Minnesota Lynx, who were also the last team to beat them back on August 24th. While Indiana's win streak may be over, their rookie sensation still managed to set a new franchise record after hitting her 103rd three-pointer of the season. No other player in Fever history has ever surpassed 102 three-pointers in a single campaign, and Clark still has another 5 regular season games to improve on her tally. Playoff-bound Caitlin Clark carving MVP path. Maybe in May and perhaps even in June or July, it was a debate as to who should be WNBA Rookie of the Year, Indiana's Caitlin Clark or Chicago's Angel Reese. It no longer can be considered up for question. Clark is your choice, and it's not close. Reese is having a good year and might end up being the best rebounder in league history before she unlaces her sneakers, but Clark's impact is irrefutable. Consider that the Fever, who have been running brutal for close to a decade, are not only a playoff team but one with a chance to do serious damage. Tuesday night losses by Chicago and Atlanta officially punched their ticket. Wednesday night's 93-86 win over Los Angeles served as a coronation of sorts for Clark and her team on the rise. Indiana didn't play its best but still won its 5th straight game and is 18-16, which doesn't sound like a big deal until you realize it's been years since this team has been on the north side of .500 at any point, let alone 34 games into a 40-game season. Clark's contribution just a 24-point, 10-rebound, 10-assist triple-double, her second of the year. She's averaging 18.9 ppg, 8.4 assists and 5.8 rebounds, and her shooting percentage has crawled up to 42.5 after being in the 30s early in the year, when the Fever were losing and the skeptics were enjoying a field day. Clark's reaction to her contribution. Of course, I knew, she said of the triple-double. But honestly, we were just trying to get stops. It's not just that Clark racks up video game numbers on a consistent basis. It's that she maintains such a laser focus on winning games. That she's done this under the highest-powered microscope in WNBA history. Face it, most of the people following the league now couldn't have named 5 players when it first started in 1997, is even more remarkable. Face it, the league prostituted her to a certain extent. It built its national TV package around her instead of veteran super teams like Las Vegas and New York. It larded the Fever's early schedule with matchups against top teams when Clark was learning the pro game and her teammates at once, for ratings purposes. Indiana's 1-8 start was predictable, yet the Twitter experts still fired away, ignoring the 2 things Clark needed, reps and rest. How do you get reps and rest at once? Follow along here. There's nothing like repetition as a learning tool. Playing and failing against the top teams early helped Clark and her teammates learn what they needed to do to win. A 14-6 record in the last 20 games is proof they've done that. And the rest part of the equation? Give U.S. Olympic coach Cheryl Reeve some credit for this. Reeve was barbecued for leaving Clark off the Olympic team. Besides the fact that at the time the team was selected, Clark really wasn't a great fit for it, Reeve's squad won in Paris anyway. As a coach told me one time after an overtime win in the NCAA tournament, I don't autopsy the wins in March. Also, even the best basketball players, the ones who love to play the most, need a break. Consider that Clark started practice for her last season at Iowa in late September 2023 and essentially had played or practiced without a real break until the WNBA's month-long sabbatical for the Paris Games. It's not a coincidence that her best basketball and her team's best basketball has come after a month of rest. And now we'll get to see Caitlin Clark play playoff games later this month. If it's anything like her NCAA tournament games at Iowa, I have one piece of advice for you. Grab the popcorn, find a TV, sit back, and watch the show. It won't disappoint. Some people are weird, racist Caitlin Clark fan stalk Angel Reese, send horrifying death threats as Chicago Stars fans race to her defense. Angel Reese does not harbor hate for rival WNBA rookie Caitlin Clark despite persistent headlines and social media banter pitting the women against each other. The same cannot be said about the Indiana Fever's star players' fans, who have taken efforts to tear down Angel too far. The Chicago Sky forward opened up about enduring the never-ending cyber attacks from Clark's legion of supporters since the two athletes' teams squared off during back-to-back NCAA title games in 2023. Angel and the Louisiana State University Tigers won the championship a year ago against Clark and the University of Iowa Hawks. The "you can't see me" hand gestures exchanged between the then-top college players fueled rampant discourses about racism being at the root of critics targeting Reese, with claims of lacking sportsmanship compared to Clark. Now, with both women in the throes of their debut seasons as professional basketball players, the attacks remain. Angel, who recently made WNBA history for having the most rebounds for a rookie, addressed the hate she faces on the Unapologetically Angel podcast on September 5th. When asked by her co-host Maya Reese about her take on the media spinning a narrative of the two players being at odds, she first said, "Caitlin is an amazing player, and I've always thought she was an amazing player. We've been playing each other since high school." The 2024 Rookie of the Year contender continued, "I think it's really just the fans, her fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans, that are like they ride for her, and I respect that. Sometimes it's very disrespectful. I think there's a lot of racism when it comes to it, and I don't believe she stands on any of that." As a clip of the conversation began to circulate on Twitter, one person commented, "I wouldn't even doubt this Some people are king weird." Clark has faced some backlash for not speaking out enough against the hate Angel receives, or, at minimum, checking her fans for their attacks.